Uh, when I had a discussion with the faculty members of this college, it was just a discussion on what should be the topic for the discussion. So she has suggested me a few topics, but I think apart from theoretical subjects of HR, ER, I should come up with some practical things that we are undergoing in the industry, and there is a possibility that you might not get that opportunity in the colleges. So I have selected one such subject which could cover entire HR and ER gamut of the manufacturing facility. So just having the 5 slides on that. Okay, so any cases, what would be the content of this people process? What should this the term means? So we heard about the various HR jargons, the recruitment, OD, training and development, industrial relations, labor laws and all. So what would be the meaning of this concept? Any guess? What do you mean by people process? Any random guess?
How the process should be done of people.
Okay.
How the people working in the industry.
Okay. Okay. So in a typically manufacturing industries where the factories are operated in a methodology where there are unions or there are no unions. Okay. So the factory HR or the plant HR personnel is taking care of the generalist role, who is having the many kind of HR, employee relations, statutory compliances. So it is a mix of everything. But at a shop floor, when you deal with the employees are having a very dynamic and different background. Background in a sense, maybe different educational background, different social background, and workplaces are various in terms of various stakeholders, right? So wherever there are unions in a particular factory, the workplaces, the environment is totally different than the factory where there are no unions. Okay, so we'll start with this topic. Okay, so every industry has a different terminologies to handle all such aspects. As Sir has mentioned about my past experience, I have started my career with Unilever, now working with Asian Paints. Again, both are the factories only. So the terminology is not important. What the intent of the management or what the intent of HR person is important. So we at Asian Paints to cover the activities around employee relations and the HR activities at plants, we have created some internal terminology which is very much close to our day-to-day life. In a way, we talk to our employees. In a way, we in our personal life as well as professional life, these words are very common to us. So this is someone. Someone means we connect. There should be a connect. There should be interaction. There should be a connect between the management and as well as the employees. So I will show the clear picture first. Okay, so these are the 5 S's. Starting from Samvad, the first is, second Sangam, third is Shikhar, fourth is Samarth, and fifth is Samruddhi. Okay, so these words are very common, which are there in our personal lives, professional lives, but that has a very concrete and structural meaning in the organization point of view. First is Samvad. We talk, communication. So in any kind of working environment, how the communication is important. Okay, so take an example of work environments where people are working in isolation. There is no communication, there is no methods, or there are no proper forums to have a communication between the shop floor side to the other side of industry, that is management. Okay, so as mentioned by the Reena Tandon, so she was mentioning about the town walls. So various industries are having their different methodologies. Like we at Asian Paints, we conduct open houses. Open house is a thing that in a quarter, all employees gather together, and the management, someone from management comes before the entire group, shares the information how industry is going, how the contribution of the employees is turning into the good business results. So apart from that, how the entire factory or the work environment is operated. So it is to hear the voices of the employees. So it can be anything. So if I refer my earlier industry's experience, there were the monthly gatherings which factory head has to conduct in front of all the employees. So why this is important? Because in the industries where around 1,000, 2,000 or maybe 500 employees are working, so there should be regular connect, there should be some regular dialogue between the management as well as the employees. So to understand what's happening in the shop floor, what's the feeling of the employees, to gather information about their views, their suggestions, or maybe their grievances, because people may not so open to speak up, because somebody has to approach them. There should be some mechanism, there should be some forums available in the factories. So this is kind of forum that opens up communication channels. Okay, so there is one point: policy communication and clarification. Okay, so typically in a factory which is located at any part of country, and industries, the policy formation, the policy designing happens somewhere at head office or like that. So how the employees get to know about the policies, the benefits in the policies. So there should be some proper mechanism that policies are communicated to the shop floor, the entire workforce of the organization, so that employee get the benefits of the policies. They will work in a disciplined manner. The policies get executed, because communication is the only way where policies are told to the employees, and they actually operate through the policies. There is one concept like GWM communication. So this is again GWM means the factory head of Asian Paints is called as a general works manager. So we do GWM communications at a monthly level. So again, typically the KRA is how the factory is operating, the volume of production, the cost of production, what are the future plans for coming months. So this kind of information that employees are getting in this thing, because someone may think why this information is important to me or any employee, because in a work environment, you are working in a companies and having a great repute like Asian Paints, Unilever. So employees are very eagerness to know the maximum information about the company, about the process, about the policies, because they are a part of the organization. They should be equally treated like someone from management. So there are other mechanisms like we have a planned magazine that gets published at a quarterly level. So again, employees share their thoughts. Sometimes employees, apart from their job or typical 8 hours duty, they are having some other qualities, capabilities. There should be some forum that get acknowledged, that get recognized, that get appreciated. So these are the some structured methods to establish communication forums. Okay, so this way we call it as a Sangam. Okay. Sorry, earlier was Samvad, this is Sangam. So Sangam is a very crucial part of all these 5 S's, because employees feel that we are working on the machines, we are working on the lines, and someone is there who is taking the credit of something. So we should be heard. Okay. So there should be someone who can hear my voice and who can hear my ideas, suggestions. Okay. And For Sangam, we call Sangam for the concept as inclusive participation. Okay, so in a workplaces where 500, so in my factory there are 600 on-roll employees. They are working in a factory. Inclusive participation comes in a way through different committees. Okay, so we have committees like transport committee, canteen committee, the cultural committees. The factory organizes various events, factory day function, annual day function. So if we are involved in functions or such activities where we are genuinely participating, where my suggestions are taken into consideration on my basis of my suggestions, basis of my ideas, the events are organized, then there would be a proud feeling between the employees, because if we are participated, some kind of authority is percolating down the line, so that in that context, the employees will feel proud about the organization, how the events are getting organized, and in return to that, there would be a highest amount of response, feedback from the employees, and that way only the events get successfully completed. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are some committees like suggestion committee. We call it as what an idea. So employees are asked to give the suggestions which are related to their work areas, may not be related to work areas. So that suggestions get counted, that suggestions get evaluated, and as a part of process, that suggestions get implemented also. So maybe at a workplace there are some issues that my team is facing, and I have some greater ideas, but I am not asked to share that. And if such kind of feeling is there, and if I am not utilizing, capturing that kind of feeling, that kind of information that is there in my employees room. So many times we hire consultant, we hire the third person who is expert in that particular area, but we are not taking into consideration our employees' views on that, because they are real owners of that particular machines or particular work areas, right? So in a way, this mechanism opens the opportunity to employees to share their ideas. So it is not just a sharing of ideas, because if I share something and that idea doesn't get acknowledged, doesn't get recorded, so I will feel that ये ऐसा पूछने के लिए पूछते हैं. So there are methodologies, there are procedures to capture the ideas, to evaluate the ideas. Again, going back to employees, what happened to your idea? Okay, so there should not be a gap in a communication. The loophole should be closed, because someone's idea, the employee will feel that this was my very good idea, but it was not considered, and I'm not able to understand what was the issue. It couldn't get implemented. Okay, so these are the small things, but it have larger implications at a manufacturing level, or where the employee size is very high. We also conduct some kind of CSR activities. So in that portfolio also, we have some committees where employees are taken into the social side of the factory, the outside the industry. The employees are sent to attend the CSR programs that industry, that particular company is carrying out. Because if as a Asian Paints, I am a part of Asian Paints HR team, I am conducting some kind of social or CSR activities, and employees are not aware of that. Okay, so if employees are involved into that, the employees would feel that this is the very social cause, and that is addressed by my company, and I am witnessing that activity in the society. So this gives a very proud feeling. This gives a very healthy feeling to the employees at the workforce, because this is not his part of job. He is working on a machine. He is working on particular maintenance department, engineering department, QA department. Why is he going outside to attend that programs? But there is again a other side of this thinking. Okay, inclusive growth. So we we generally talk about the development or the career growth at industries. We aspire for many things when we enter into industry. We have gained various theoretical, various practical knowledges on the basis of pure previous experiences or the current organization experiences. So management or the industry have to see all these factors which are there in the minds of employees. What are the aspirations of employees? What are the ways and means that we can provide to the employees so that they can develop themselves to be part of the maybe current organization, or maybe if they don't get the opportunity here, they can try better outside the industry. So it's for the career growth. So typically there are factories where generally there are idea holders, there are diplomas, there are BEs. Okay, so the idea holder who is working as a workman or a team member at any particular industry, so he must be having some aspiration that I should complete diploma, I should complete BE, I should go ahead in the organization. Why I should work at the same cadre or the grade. So if industries offers such kind of academic enrollment facilities, or maybe if not academic enrollment facilities, inside the industry, there are ways and means to develop that employee, maybe by way of training and development, small assignments, maybe cross-functional assignments, so that employee grows in terms of skill, where after that he may fill up positions wherein the management is looking for some higher positions, right? Because we at Asian Paints are having such very structured plan on these years, and we focus a lot on the inclusive growth or the Shikhar, where whenever there are opportunities at a particular level, so there we are having a ready pool at the lower grade who are having the potential to grow up and to work in the higher positions. And this is not the theory, this is practically happening at my plant. Okay, so capability building, Samarth. So again, I have words, I use some words like vertical growth plan, structural induction for new joinees. Whenever new joinee is coming to a factory or to a work environment where he has to work on various automated machines, maybe manual machines, and he is not having that much of experience to maybe technical experience, maybe interpersonal skills. So induction, the word induction says it is just a complete information, but it is not like that. I will share the Unilever style of doing induction. So in Unilever's, the maximum workforce at shop floor are non-technical people. So the person who has completed 10th as well as 12th, or maybe idea holder. Okay, so when they come to industry, they are not aware about what machines, how machines are operated, how factories run, what are the different departments, how should be the teamwork in the working environment. So they do 20 days rigorous induction plan for an employee who is joining the factory, who has just completed his 10th or 12th, who undergoes a 20 days induction plan. In that 20 days, he gets in and out of the work profile, the factory operations, the operating procedures, various SOPs, various discipline-related, policy-related information, and after that he gets so equipped that he will do a better job. So these kind of activities which are required in terms of a manufacturing side, or maybe in other industries also, but I don't have such kind of exposure. So as I mentioned, this will tie up with institutes for mass level education. So we are trying to do tie-ups with the management colleges, tie-up with the engineering colleges. Like diploma person can pursue the education of BE. ITI person can pursue education of diploma, so that he would be ready for the higher position. Uh, there are various ways and methods to impart a training. Typically, training and development happens in very orthodox ways, but we have made e-modules for particular machines, particular operations. That e-modules are a part of again an induction. So an employee who is maybe in Asian Paints a diploma holder who is coming from PNG, Unilever or maybe ITC, who is not available of the paint procedure or the because as Sir mentioned about the Asian Paints, this facility, manufacturing facility. So Asia's largest or highly automated facility is there in Khandala. So how we take an employee outside the market to the Asian Paint factory, who is supposed to handle the highly automated machines, robots and all. So the methods of doing trainings may be different, but we adopt some the innovative ways like e-learning modules, some audio visuals of particular machines. So that way the learning happens very smoothly. So there are various means of doing training. Yeah, this is the HR slide. So welfare. We heard about various theories during our colleges. Like you must be heard about the Maslow's hierarchy theory. We talk about the basic theories, the basic needs. There is pyramid in the theory. So when we work in a factory where there are larger number of employees, we should connect the employees to know what are their issues, what are their grievances. We should be very proactive towards providing such things. So there are various methods to engage employees. So typically, if you see the welfare, welfare is a word of, it is a concept which came from the Factories Act, where there are various welfare facilities that industry have to provide to employees. But it is not just like that. So in terms of changing dimensions, in terms of changing work scenarios, we have to take various innovative ways and methods so that employees get engaged. On this slide, there is a very important point that I mentioned. Actually, that point should have a separate slide, grievance redressal mechanism. So, employees working in a work environment must be having some grievances, but who is looking at grievances? Are the employees open to reach any higher authority to share his grievances? Is there someone who is actually acting upon the grievances so that employees if issues get resolved and they work very effectively? So we have a methodology to capture grievances. We have adopted the electronic methods. We have some portals to employees register their grievances. There is a committee who address that grievances, and employee get answer or get feedback on particular grievances. Okay, so on the question that she was asking to the earlier session regarding the digitalization of the processes where employee gets easy support or easy access to the systems. So typically in a manufacturing side industries, it is correct that we should be having such methods that employees get addressed, the employees' issues get addressed immediately. But on the other side, there is another aspect of discipline. So many times people takes things granted. They think that this should happen very immediately. But there are various aspects of discipline also that should be also taken into consideration, because in a unionized plants where our unions are there to work in a typical aggressive ways. But the aspect of discipline should be considered. So, which is a very challenging aspect that you might not be having that kind of experience. But when you enter into industry, you will get a hang on that. So it's not a just keep someone is coming and we should address immediately. But there are certain procedures, there are certain discipline code of conducts. Indian law, Indian labor laws makes us to follow that. There are various statutory laws, the labor laws made for that. Okay. Any questions? I think there should not be any questions. But you can reach me anytime. Maybe any